Today, let's have a look at using the LocalGov Drupal LocalGov Subsites Extras module. This is the module that allows you to have subsites with subsite pages that have a different look and feel or different color scheme or extra menus and things like that inside your subsites. So what I've done here is I've got a subsite with a purple menu. Now, when we're looking at this, please don't look at the ugliness of how things are, because all this does is actually create some CSS classes for us, and then things like the spacing and the colors, that's up to your front-end developers and designers to sort out for you. So what I've done here is created a subsite called Fancy Subsite. This is using the subsite overview content type, and I've created two subsite pages, one called page 1 and one called a subsite page. And if we go to any of these pages, then we see that the purple menu persists from the parent subsite overview. This is placed for me inside the breadcrumbs region. That's why we've got the breadcrumbs under it, and it's all looking a little bit messy, but let's just kind of work with this in a you get the idea mentality. So we'll go back to the fancy subsite, and it's pretty simple. Thanks very much to Chicken, Rupert and Justine for building pretty much 100% of this. Will Callahan then in Essex County Council for the idea and the push to make this more generic for everyone in LocalGov Drupal to benefit from it, and Essex County Council and Hammersmith and Fulham for the funding of it, and I guess I did a little bit here and there. So if we edit this subsite overview, pretty much nothing has changed, except we've got some options here for what color do you want your section to be. So if I choose default, nothing will happen. If I choose red, you can guess it will have a red background. If I choose purple, it will have a purple background. So let's just save that. Now that field is already there in our subsite overview content type. It's just that it doesn't have any values. So to get this to work, let's say the first thing you do is download LocalGov Subsites Extras module, number 1. Number 2, let's say we'll come to our content types. It's gone off the screen. Content types and subsite overview, manage fields. And you need to put some options into the visual theme field. So I've just put in 2 for red and purple. Sorry, the field settings. You can put in as many as you want yourself, and I would encourage you, rather than the way I call them red and purple here, use the kind of default pattern we have here. So call them things like Team B yellow, Team C green, that kind of a thing, so that if you ever want to change what Team B is, if in the next iteration of your brand guidelines you're not using yellow anymore, you don't have a CSS class called red, which equates to something like gold. So use generic names for the key, and then use human readable names, let's call them, for the values. So that will give us an extra couple of options. Now we can see how they work in a moment. After that, then you need to place these items inside a menu. So what I've done with it, just because here on Essex County Council we don't actually use a main menu anywhere, so I'm using the main navigation for this. I would suggest you probably create a new dedicated menu and a new dedicated region in your team for the Subsites Extras menu. So what I've done here is I've just placed the main navigation, just for handiness sake, inside the breadcrumb region, and I've said that in the main navigation, or whatever menu you use for this, the initial visibility level is 2, so it doesn't show the first item, and then the number of levels show is 1, so it will show all direct children of the top menu item. The reason we do that is so that if we look at the main navigation here, it means then that the parent item becomes a container for us. So Fancy Subsite is the container for the menu items that will go inside that, and then you can have another container here called Subsite News, which could have its own items inside that. Let's pretend we've got other items that go in here, and then all of your subsite menus can be managed in from one menu, or else you could create individual menus for everything if you wanted. Okay, I won't save this because I don't make any of those changes. But that's kind of, I suppose, one of the maybe the gotchas that you might not have noticed initially from it, is that you need to set your initial visibility to 2, so that we skip the top level menu, and the number of levels displayed to be 1, so you just see the first level under that item. Once that's done, then if you have created a new menu for to use for this, then you will need to edit each of the content types to say that the menu settings, that it can go into main navigation, or it can go into whatever the new menu that you've created over here is. We just need main navigation switched on here because that's the only one we're using. With that being the case, then you can add content. Let's say we'll add a subsite overview page, and we'll call this one super fancy subsite, and we won't bother putting any content into it. That doesn't really matter. And the visual theme, we're going to choose, let's go with green actually for this, just for a minute. We'll set this to published here, and in the menu we've got to create a menu link, and the parent here will be main navigation, because this will be the top level menu link for us here. So we'll save that. Now this does nothing yet because there's no child menu items to show up in the main navigation here. So let's add a page called subsite page. So this is super fancy subsite. We'll go with page 1. And the parent of this is super fancy subsite. And I don't think we need any of these things here, do we? No, we'll leave these out just for now. This will be published, and the menu will be super fancy subsite page 1, and the parent link for this will be the super fancy subsite. Okay, so now we see we have the menu item is here, and if we come back to the super fancy subsite, the menu item is still here. Now you can't see it because of our CSS and things like that. So let's see what actually happens when this gets created. It's very simple in that all it actually does is, on the body field here, it adds a class called subsite and a class called color theme C or A or B or red or purple, whatever we've chosen. Because of these two classes here at the body level, it means then we can change and affect all the colors everywhere else that are lower down on the page. So let's have a look at our CSS. I've got some very simple stuff here. So what I've got is, if we have a class called .subsite, then the main menu uses display flex, so things will align side by side, and the menu items will use inline block just so they're a bit more clickable, let's say. Besides that, I've just got, if the color class is color red, then we use the color accent for our background color, and if it's color purple, we use the color success for our background color. And let's duplicate these. So if it's color, what you say, theme C, which was I can't remember, let's go with green, I think, and if it was team B, it was yellow. This could be backwards, could be the other way around. We refresh this page here. Now we should get the right colors. Yeah, so now we've got the green in here now. And then this is very simple CSS. You can imagine yourself then that you put in more complex things to make it actually look nice. One thing I will warn about is that I do have 2 pull requests open. Just one this morning for LocalGov Subsites extras, and the first one, actually the one we really need to care about, is the CSS classes. So I don't want us to add a class called subsite to the body. I would rather if we add the class called subsite extra, and then I don't add a class color dash to the body. I want us to call it subsite extra dash color whatever 1, 2, or 3. So those classes I showed you a second ago are liable to change if we merge this PR here. I think that's it. So after that, then you can do whatever you want with your CSS and make things lay out properly and change your fonts and change your colors and have a lot of fun with what subsite extras can do. Very, very simple module. Thanks to everyone who's been putting that